Hello, guys. Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Natalie Rydstrom, and I have got my co-host for the World Cup sitting right next to me. You may know him from Need for Tips. Alex, welcome to Costa
Hello.
Rica.
Yeah, nice
Welcome
to
to
see
the
you
show.
guys. Yeah, but it's been a long flight, but I'm here and we are ready to have a wonderful coverage for the World Cup every day. Great shows, great, a lot of stuff happening in those 1 month and a half. How much it is the World Cup? Yeah, 1 month almost, and 1 month and a half.
5 weeks.
5 weeks,
5 weeks
full
of
of.
football. You excited for those early? Some of the games start at 6 a.m. here in Costa Rica, but me and Alex will be on my sofa, cup of coffee in hand, and watching them. So all very exciting stuff. But today is super exciting because we've got Ed Fang on the show, and he's coming on. He uses sort of systems betting. For those of you know our best bet show, Stuart from Tipster HQ, as a massive fan. Here he is, Ed Fang. Ed, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
I'm great, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm super excited, but for those who don't know about you, obviously this is sort of the soccer side. I know you do a lot for more sort of the American sports. Now I met you in the IFBC, and you said sort of tournaments like the World Cup, Champions League. This is what you're strong at with soccer. You've got a system called the Power Rank. Can you explain to our viewers and to us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, about 10 years ago, I started thinking about how to apply some of my academic research to sports. And one of the things that the method that I developed does really well is accounts for strength of schedule. And it's something that's really important in international soccer where you have, strong teams like Brazil's and Germany's of the world, and you have a lot of minnows like the Faroe Islands. And so how do when Germany beats the Faroe Islands 12-1, how do you account for that in the numbers?
You don't.
And that is one choice you could certainly make. But I take all the data from the last 4.5 years, and I put them through the algorithm, and it makes these adjustments for me. And one of the things that you really see is just how strong some of these South American teams are, how strong some of these European teams are. These teams tend to move up amongst the rankings. The Asian and the CONCACAF teams tend to go down a little bit. And yeah, so it's really about those strength of schedule adjustments. I use those to rank offense and defense, and then that allows me to simulate the World Cup 50,000 times, and that's how I can generate some some win probabilities for each team. Also have numbers about the probability for each team to advance, win their stage, and so it's just a database approach. And I'm always interested in comparing it to what you guys have to say. You guys watch every single game every month of the year because I'm busy with American football for a large part of the year. So I love talking to you guys about it.
Yeah. Well, first question, obviously. So we've got it here, and you said it runs through a system 50,000 times. You're comparing, is it majority like offense and defense? Because I do notice that there's a few of them. So you've got like Brazil, for example. So you've put them as number one. Obviously, the bookies have them priced 5.5. They failed to win on their own turf. You've got the second best offense, second best defense. What makes you so sure that they're going to win the World Cup this year?
Well, I mean, I'm 83% sure that they're not going to win the World Cup. So it kind of depends on about how you look at it. I mean, I see Brazil as a team that has always been good. One of the things that we can take advantage of from a data perspective is that these teams don't change too much. The United States and Brazil are never going to change positions in international soccer. That's just not the way it happens. These changes take place really slowly. So when you look at a window of games over about 4 years, you get a good perspective of the team, especially with Brazil. I mean, they were plus 25 goals in South American qualifying, which is really a tough place to qualify. That goal differential suggests this team is ready to compete with anyone in the world. Germany is also good. The numbers also like Spain, France, Argentina. But at the end of the day, Brazil has the highest chance to win.
Yeah.
And I should also mention.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, no. So I should also mention. I think the numbers that you are looking at is ones that combine my numbers with a couple other numeric systems and the markets. So that 17% is an ensemble estimate. And what we found, the data people have found that when you combine a bunch of strong predictors together, you get an even stronger one. And so that's the number that you're quoting there. I think when it's just my raw system, I think it's more towards what you got. I mean, I think it's 14% with just the numerical methods that I've been talking about today. The 17% is when you combine that, a number of other estimates, and particularly the futures markets, which we expect to be a pretty powerful predictor of probabilities. That's a combination. So it's an ensemble, and I expect that 17% to be the most accurate.
Wow. What are you going to say?
I wanted to ask if the probability for Brazil to win the World Cup translates in odds. 5.5 they are priced right now in most of the bookies.
Right.
With most of the bookies. So that 17% translates in 5.5 at plus 450 with American odds.
Yeah, so I mean, it should be. I mean, we could probably work this out, but I think it's about plus 350 or 360 would translate to about 17%. So,
so
if you can get higher odds than that,
yeah. So the bookies are offering even more than what you're saying. So 5.5, 6, or also in with some bookies. So. Yeah, if you are confident enough that Brazil will win, I think that we should take advantage of that those odds.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can get good odds compared to that win probability, I think you should go for it. I mean, the last time I checked the futures markets, I thought it looked very tight compared to the probabilities that I had and actually suggested no bets in that futures market, but that easily could have changed since I think I looked at it Friday morning.
Yeah. And how does obviously with system betting, how does it account for, things like weather, injuries, things like that. And I think, obviously I know this is such a tried and tested sort of approach that you have taken, especially as well with American football. So this is something that really works for you. And I know that you're confident that but how do they take into consideration those other factors that say a system can't?
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't account for injuries, and that's something that you need to make suggestive adjustments above and beyond that. And even situations in terms of guys coming back into fitness. Neymar is the obvious example, right? So how is he going to play? And if he doesn't play, how is Brazil going to do? You have the striker for Peru that's back now, so that was an adjustment that you really had to make if he was going to be suspended for the World Cup. But now he's back. So in the report that I have on my site, I try to go through all these injuries, and I think Tunisia is something is a team that the numbers like to get out of the group stage compared to their odds, but you have to look at some of their injuries and think that maybe that's why the markets are so low on them getting out.
Do you know that every team is coming from different qualifying tournament, European, South American, African, and so on, and we know that some matches in the European qualifying tournament, some teams like Germany, for example, wins in a row, a lot of goals scored. Do you take that in consideration? Because the teams that they are playing against in the European qualification are not so tough, so easy opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this, Alex, we really have to dig into the details of the method, but essentially, so for example, if Germany beat Spain by a goal, that means a lot. So a 2-2 tie with Spain compared to a 3-2 win over Spain, that's a big difference. When you're looking at Faroe Islands, like if you beat the Faroe Islands 12-0 instead of 11-0, there's literally almost no difference. The match result in my system says, okay, you are clearly better than this team, and it is appropriately deweighted. So that's the way it accounts for that. In some sense, I mean, you would say, Alex, that the game shouldn't matter. In my system, it would just say, okay, well, when you put in a game with the Faroe Islands and you beat them 12-0, Germany's rating is hardly going to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be the result of that.
Absolutely. We have also one of our team Bankroll members, Stuart, has also two systems that he's using over the last years, very profitable. So I'm not a system guy. I'm watching a lot of matches. I'm talking from another point of view. I never use them. But for example, Stewart was profitable.
Profitable, and then also last season as well was I think he won last season with his like purely like close system bets, and some of the bets that he goes for as well are like really high. Yeah, we're like
Stewart the
but
crazy one.
Yeah, exactly. So he's actually got the nickname Crazy Stew, and Stewart and his crazies because this is like his system is saying. But listen, let's we've heard now about your systems. So you think Brazil right now? You're going to put your money. You're putting your money behind your system betting, and you're backing Brazil to lift the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting my reputation behind those numbers.
Okay.
I think, like I said, the last time I checked, that there wouldn't really be a bet on Brazil according to the numbers, but obviously check again as things change over the course of last week. I mean, one thing, from my system, the top two teams only have, about a 30% chance to win this tournament, which suggests that it's kind of wide open.
Yeah.
European soil. We could certainly, the next group of teams in terms of Spain, France, and Argentina are clearly contenders. I think most people would agree with that. But I think it's a wide open tournament. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Are you going to adjust your systems? Obviously after we've got out the group stages, we've seen how they're going to perform. Do you sort of update? Because taking futures right now as in to win can be profitable. You can get the higher odds. But obviously these group stages are going to be very telling to then when we get to the next level. So right now I have to say, like, we're doing... After this, we're going down and we're starting to make bets for who's going to qualify. And there's some, and we'll start to run through those, but there's some that really is some tremendous value right now. Will you update your system after the group stage?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my rankings on my site update every day. So it just pulls the games from the FIFA site and updates it. The changes are minimal because that's what the analytics say. These teams tend to be pretty stationary. And obviously they don't account for injuries. So yes, the system does update. World Cup games get the most weight in my system as they should. So when those games start coming through, yes, we will see changes. So for example, if, God forbid, if Panama wins 5-0 in a group stage, you'll see a significant change in the system just because of the weight of that game and the importance of that game. And you see that with Costa Rica, really. I mean, they had that great run in the World Cup last time around, made it all the quarters. Their ranking is still pretty high, because of that strength they showed, and maybe a little bit too high. But an interesting team to talk about, especially since you guys are down there.
Yeah, one of my best bets is Costa Rica to finish bottom in their group. So
except they scored against Belgium.
Come on, it's a friendly match we are talking about.
They
and
were
after
using,
that you saw what happened, right?
They were using their best 11.
Yeah, but after that you saw what happened, right?
No, I didn't. We came
in 20 minutes, 2-1 directly, bank.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Damn. He thinks that Costa Rica's finished bottom of the group. Come on, Costa Rica. I think that they won't.
They will kill me in the office, right?
No, they will kill you in the office. Don't leave. And it's all on camera as well. But listen, going over to now, we've done a lot of videos pre sort of World Cup. We've broken it down sort of group by group and everything. And there's certainly some value to qualify. And again, is this document that you sent me that I've got here? People can find that, right? I think it's on. Did you post it on your Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that document is actually a paid product on my site. You can get some of my public numbers if you just go to the site. You can look at the rankings. There's a lot of free stuff, but those are the ensemble numbers that I talked about before that combine markets with 4 different types of calculations. So I save those for members of my site, and then you can just purchase that separately since most of my members care about American football.
And I know your Twitter handle is @thepowerrank. Is that the name of your website as well?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So guys, check it out. It's very detailed, very interesting indeed. But talking now groups to qualify, and again reading the document here in front of me, you've got sort of the probabilities, the percentage chances for each team to win against the other. So obviously, if you are looking, and right now I think group stage betting and to qualify or not to qualify is certainly where the money's at right now. Are there any teams, based on your calculations, that you would sort of point us in the direction to bet on? I'm just trying to bring up some numbers here, but I think, Switzerland or Serbia is the one. Which ones are you looking at right now to qualify that you think has the most amount of value? Belgium?
Yeah, Belgium has short value there, but because they have an easy group.
Belgium to win 1.1, England to qualify.
Yeah. So actually, let's focus on that group. I'm not a huge fan of Belgium. Everyone's talking about this golden generation. I still don't think they're a top 5 team in the world and a legit contender. This is both from numbers and from watching them play as well. Because I do catch some games, every summer. And I think there's some interesting odds in the bottom part of that group with Tunisia and Panama. And one of the things that we see with the numbers is that, as terrible as Saudi Arabia is, they still have about a 16% chance of getting out of that group, according to my numbers. And that might seem absurdly high because they really do stink, but that's also a function of how bad that group is in terms of Uruguay and a very kind of incompetent Russia host country. I'm also seeing some numbers in terms of that Belgium-England group too. Tunisia is plus 450. The probabilities that I have are way higher, are significantly higher than, and Panama at plus 800. Those are 2 interesting teams that I'm looking at. I think I mentioned Tunisia has some injuries that I'm still researching to see, whether that nulls my excitement for that team to make it out of the group. But I feel like the markets are treating Belgium and England as if they're Germany, and they're not Germany to me or to my numbers. So that's a group that I'm thinking about in terms of probability of odds of getting out of the group.
Interesting.
I totally agree with Saudi Arabia, but I totally disagree with Tunisia and Panama.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia is fighting for sure with Egypt and Russia. I think that from my point of view, Russia will not go further. They have one of the worst teams. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But and Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Russia are fighting for that second place with huge chances, all 3 of them. Uruguay should easily top the group. But if you're asking me about Tunisia, yes, Belgium and England are not Germany or France or Brazil. But if they will not win the other 2 matches, not their head-to-head, but the other 2 matches, I think that, I don't know, something will... Huge upsets we are talking about, not simple stuff.
Right. No, I agree. But I think the one thing the numbers do suggest is, every World Cup, there's the big team that fails to get out of the group.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Belgium and England were one of those teams.
Really? Well,
we'll
Belgium, we have this, every time Belgium is always everyone's dark horse. And I'm actually more in agreement with you, Ed. So it's actually quite nice to be not alone in this one. Whether they won't qualify, I don't know. That would be a big upset. What other teams do you think? Because I think that's always like the fun sort of thing, the teams that are likely to make those sort of the upsets. And upsets are often harder to call than favourites to advance. Are there any other teams that you think, for example, like to not qualify? Are there any other teams that you're looking at that could cause the upset?
Do you think that Iceland, for example, in a group with Argentina, Croatia, and Nigeria, have any chances to go further?
Yeah, the numbers don't like Iceland. I think they're, obviously performed well in Euro 2016. So the numbers weren't. I mean, the markets seemed right on in terms of their odds to get out of that group. I just want to state, Natalie, that it's not about whether I think that, a Tunisia or Panama are likely to get out of the group. It's just compared to the price in their markets. I think it's a pretty good deal. And then the one other that I'll give you is Australia. It's not. I don't think they're likely to get out of that group. No. But they've been a competent football playing country. Not great, but competent. And the price of plus 400, which I saw this morning, seems like something that you might want to consider for them to get out of their group.
Really? Well, we were looking as well before the video. Alex wrote an article. This video is going to be housed in that article over at Sportsbook Review, and we've got new markets. And mentioning Australia was sort of like the lowest scoring team, and then also like the team totals market. Do you delve into that as well with your systems?
Not as of today, but I'm actually going to try to look at some goals scored tomorrow morning. So we'll see. I mean, because when you simulate the tournament, you get a score for every game, right? So every game out of those 550,000 simulations, you get a score. So you should be. So I can calculate, how many goals Saudi Arabia should score in the tournament, how many goals Brazil should score in the tournament. So that's something I hope to get in. Hope to have time to do this week.
All right.
I wanted to ask him how many goalless draws he had in this competition.
I will get back to you on that.
Okay,
I
because
can
it's interesting
let you know.
because a lot of people like the under-over market in terms of goals, and it might be interesting to see how many goalless draws or how many unders and how many overs, which is the percentage from all those matches.
What's the market? What's the number on
2.5
goalless draws for the tournament? 2.5. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll look into that.
All right, awesome stuff. Now, we've obviously talked about Brazil to win the group. Is there any sort of like to qualifying or any other sort of bets that your systems have pulled out? That right now we can go after this show. I think me and Alex are going down. I'm going to show him the coldest beer in Costa Rica. Any bets that we can make based on your systems and your reputation, Ed Feng?
Yeah, I mean, with Australia and Tunisia and Panama were the ones that I like the most. Like I mentioned before, I don't really like anything in the futures to win the entire thing. Looking to get out of the group is where I would stick. I think Mexico minus 105 looked like something that was intriguing to me. I don't know if that's enough respect for Mexico in that group, but it's not one as I liked as much as the other three.
Okay. All right. Anything else you would like to add?
No, I really love his point of view. I'm not using the system, so I never use the system. I respect them, also Ed, also Stuart, for coming up with the system. Of course, when you have a PhD, you can move the world. Me, I don't have a PhD, so I have to watch every match to have a good eye on the match and come up with a tip. But at plus 60 last season, it was good for me.
Yeah, we are our systems are here
yeah.
and watching the matches and doing our homework.
Well,
but...
I mean that's important data too. I mean that's why I like to talk to you guys, and that's important data to pull out that I don't have. And I think the best is when you combine the numbers with the insight that you get from watching the games, and maybe we can work together and figure out some more teams that we like.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you know what will be interesting as well is after the group stage as well. Let's get together and see how the numbers have shifted from. I'll quickly read what have I got here. So the top, actually, we'll do the top four that Ed Feng has based on his systems is Brazil 17.3%, Germany 13.3%, Spain 11.2%, and France 10.4%. So that's the order that his system has gone from first to fourth. Now we were chatting at lunch. Yeah. Ours is different. Ours is a bit more different, right? So what order? What's your top three?
Me, I'm going Spain to win the tournament. After that, second favorite Brazil, and third favorite France. This is what I'm going.
So right. what do you like about Spain?
What I like about Spain, I like a lot of stuff about Spain. They changed the roster, and now they have new players, new young players, young guns that had a wonderful season with their domestic club. I can name you only 2-3 just to have a good view on them. Isco, Asensio from Real Madrid won their third Champions League trophy in 3 years. Iniesta, I don't think that he will play a lot because he's old and probably he might stay more on the bench. They have, for me, the top goalkeeper in the world, David De Gea, that probably will win also the Golden Glove at the end of the tournament. Spain has everything. They have great players all over the pitch, from defenders with a lot of experience till what they don't have is a good striker, let's say. But I think that from the middle and up, they can perform better and better with every match. And their recent results and their recent form is showing me that they have a huge chance to win this World Cup. Yeah. Of course, that when we are talking about this level in the history of the World Cup, only 8 teams won, and now they remain 7 because Italy didn't qualify. Yeah. So I'm taking Uruguay out of this question. They were amongst those 8 countries, and we remain with 6. And if we go down one by one, we remain with 3-4 of them. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I'm just reading as well.
And I think.
Sorry, go on.
So I was just going to say, Spain is one of those teams that I don't think numbers have a pretty good perspective on because they've had poor performances in the last 2 major tournaments. One of the reasons that my numbers that you're looking at are high on Spain is because I consider markets and other systems as well. So I think they're a little bit underrated in terms of just looking at pure numbers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just reading as well. We've got a lot of comments going. We're live over on Twitter. Sorry, at YouTube. And again, Anne says Spain's offence. She's a regular viewer of ours. Spain's offence worries me. But a lot of people as well says Spain has been great in the qualifiers last month, as Tomio Tomor. So it seems actually quite a few people are liking Spain as well. I'm actually for Spain as well. But I would add France in there, and I like Germany as well. But Alex, we disagree with Germany, I have to say.
Alex
Germany is like fading. It'll be interesting to see. Anne is from Germany, so it'll be interesting.
I'm sorry, Anne.
One thing I was going to say though is, so again, reading your thing. So you've got Spain at 11.2, and then France is 10.4. France being the fourth. Yet on the power, you've got offence. They're number 5th, and defense they're 10th, Spain, whilst France, the offense is 3rd and the defense is 3rd. So I just, from those numbers, I would have just put France as number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Natalie, you read too closely, and you ask all the tough questions. So the offense and defense rankings are from the system that I told you about, what you would call just my method, or the power rank that ranks teams on offense and defense. The numbers at the top are the ones that include 4 different computations, of which the offense and defense numbers are one of them, and the market as well. So this is the reason why, the markets really bring up Spain, and a lot of the other systems bring up Spain compared to the raw numbers, which I think I have Spain like the 5th best chance or something. So, I mean, they're clearly a contender. But what we've learned from analytics is that you get the best predictions by combining a number of competent predictions. That's the way to get better predictions. And so that's what you see at the top. And then what you see in the team capsule with the offense and defensive rankings, that's just one system, my system. And I'm pretty sure it's a little bit too low on Spain, just because of the poor performances in major tournaments.
Did you include the friendly matches in your statistics?
Yep.
Okay.
They're weighted much less.
Yeah, I was going to say that they can be quite. Sometimes we cover some friendly matches, but you just it's very hard to know sort of the teams are coming up.
We did well also there.
Just reading as well, a lot of people also fading Germany, says Ergo. Basuma says fade Germany. So there we go.
Yeah, but we have, we spoke earlier that we have some interesting latest markets for future. So for me, the lowest scoring team, it will be Panama. The highest scoring team, it will be France, just for you guys to know if you like it or not. Shane on Twitter gave us some interesting ACAs, who will qualify, who will not qualify. After that, we have the goals market. How many goals for every team they have a line. For example, Argentina was over under 7.5 goals in the entire tournament. That's interesting. So, guys, be careful, because there are actually a lot of markets that we can take advantage of at the beginning of the tournament, and just relax the tournament if you don't want to bet match by match. But tomorrow we will start this, right? We will have match by match and the best bets like we usually do.
And that will be Stuart from Twitter HQ will be our first guest on starting tomorrow. There's a lot of also debate, interestingly, and we'll talk about this more, but there's a lot of debate on systems and whether they work. And I think some people, I think, don't understand them. This is what we're reading right now. I have to say, like, Ed Feng has been a contributor with us for SBR and very well regarded. So I'm still new to systems. I'm sold by Stuart. And I tell you what, there's a lot of weight behind Ed Feng. So don't rule them out, guys.
The guy has a PhD, come on.
PhD at Stanford. Everyone was like, where does he study? Stanford.
Exactly.
Stanford, yes, exactly.
Not on Stanford Bridge. On Stanford.
Not the bridge, but the university. So anyway, Ed, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And can't wait to have you back, actually. Once the knockout stages, we'll see where we all stand. We gave our number 1, 2, and 3. So we'll see where we stand, see how your system is doing. And let's put some of those doubters out of the question here, because I believe in Ed Fang's system. So check it out at the Power Rank. Ed, thank you very much. Alex, co-host. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And a huge shout out to our friends that are watching us right now. A lot of friendly names that are following us for a long time. Thank you, guys. We will be back tomorrow. Free videos we have tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the best bets from Group A and B from the first
3
round.
p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 3 p.m. Easters, be here. Aka show. Yeah, we have the Aka show for the first round.
First Aka show, first round as well.
Yes.
Me and Alex delivering our for Akas. Anyway, listen, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. To Ed Feng and, of course, to my co-host, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.